Newly released documents and audio in the fatal police shooting of Corey Jones reveals gaping holes in the officer's story about why he shot the 31-year-old musician multiple times. Plainclothes officer Newman Raja shot and killed Corey Jones on the night of October 18th, 2015, after approaching him on a Florida interstate where Jones's car had broken down. According to the authorities, a gun linked to Jones was recovered at the scene, but he had a concealed carry permit. Following the shooting, Officer Raja was terminated and charged with manslaughter. He pled not guilty and is awaiting trial. What you are about to see on the right side of your screen is an FBI simulation of how Officer Raja approached Corey Jones. What you will hear is Corey Jones' communication with a roadside assistance dispatcher during his final moments.
I'm off the PGA southbound exit on 95.
On 95?
I-95 exit PGA southbound.
Okay, is there any, hold on, let me write southbound down. Is there any buildings, landmarks, anything like that, that I could use to pinpoint your address?
Stop. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's gunshots.
Now, here's where the contradictions come in. This is Officer Raja talking to an emergency communications officer right after he shoots Jones.
That gun right now!
911.
Hey, this is Gardens Alpha 1. I just got one down. I just shot one person. I'm at that off-ramp right behind Doubletree. Black male.
You're behind the Doubletree?
I'm on the off-ramp, 95 southbound off-ramp, off the Doubletree. I am not covered in anything right now. And,
all right.
Give me some units. I got one down. I got one man down. Have fire rescue stand by.
Roger, you all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Drop the gun!
On the off-ramp, right?
On the off-ramp. Give me some units. I've lost contact with him. I don't know where he is.
All right, you got it, buddy. Where's your radio? Where's your radio, Raj?
My radio's in the van right now. I don't have it with me. That's why I'm on the phone.
All right, stay on the phone, buddy. What's the guy look like?
Black male wearing all black dress, had a silver handgun in his right hand. I came out, I saw him come out with a handgun, I gave him commands, I identified myself, and he turned, pointed the gun at me, started running, I shot him.
And in addition to the discrepancies we just heard, Raja had a tactical vest in his vehicle when he arrived on the scene, but he did not put it on when he approached Jones, making it nearly impossible for Jones to identify him as a police officer. So joining me on the phone from Los Angeles to discuss these developments is one of the Jones family attorneys, Benjamin Crump. Thanks for joining us today, Benjamin Crump.
Good morning. Thank
you
so much for covering this matter.
And on Skype from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, is another attorney for the Jones family, Kweku Darfoor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. So can you fill us in? We just heard this audio and clearly see how heartbreaking it is that there are these huge discrepancies. What's happening on the ground for you all today?
Well, the first thing I'll say is simply this. When you witness this evidence, you can only think how many other innocent people of color have been killed by the people who are supposed to protect and serve them, and then a false narrative is created, and we have no objective evidence like we have in the Corey Jones matter. And as I've said to my co-counsels, and I have talked to Roland many times about, it's dangerous being a black man with car trouble in America. Whether you're Jonathan Wallace in Charlotte, North Carolina, whether you're Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the church drummer Corey Jones, on the side of the road in Palm Beach Gardens. It's just dangerous.
So going to you, Kweku, how are you feeling about, how's the family taking in these new developments with the audio coming out?
Well, naturally the family is still grieving and is quite distraught still, knowing that, what the officer says contradicts with what, as we now see, apparently occurred. So, the family is still, likes to mourn in their privacy and ultimately would like to see justice brought down swiftly, so they can move on with their lives, and so they can know that Corey was given justice after this tragic killing.
So tell us a little bit more about this case. What's going to happen moving forward now that we have this new information?
Well,
Mr. Crump, you can hop in here.
Yeah. Certainly. I think the prosecutor has clearly shown they have the evidence to get justice for Corey Jones. And like so many other times where we see definitive, objective evidence, is going to go to the jury, and we will see if a police officer finally is held accountable for killing an innocent person of color.
So what's next? What are we looking forward to, and what should the public be zeroing in on and best ways to follow this case? And I'll go to you, Mr. Darfour.
Well, naturally, the prosecutor and the defense are still going through their discovery, so there's still an ample amount of depositions that will occur, and an ample amount of discovery that will still take place before, ultimately proceed with the rest of the trial. It'll be interesting to see if there's anything else that comes out or reveals itself, which ultimately contradicts what the police officer has been stating so far.
So going back to our panel, again, we have Dr. Metzler, and we also have Tony Brown with us today. What do you all think about this? What's happening here? Why do we keep having these occurrences where reports are saying or being filed as one thing, and then weeks later, or with the demands of activists and the family and lawyers, we then get audio or video that says something completely different?
First, let me give my condolences to the family. I did development in Riviera Beach, which is the city immediately south of where this incident occurred. And I know that our community and our elected officials, and particularly Mayor Masters and others, took the cause and reveled with the family for justice. And it just so happened, and graciously so, that he was on the phone with roadside assistance, and it was taped. So the things like that, it's scary, it's tragic, and I think Mr. Crump said it best. It causes you to lose trust with law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And so I would have two questions to the attorneys. One question is, as a black man, what do I tell my kids, and particularly my male son, about how to act as it relates to law enforcement? So that's one question. What do we tell our young men to do as it relates to law enforcement? And then secondly, if you were talking to police chiefs, or if you were talking to the rank and file law officers, what would you tell the law enforcement community as it relates to how they interact with us?
I'll go first, Attorney Darfour. I think clearly there was nothing that Corey Jones did wrong in this scenario. Absolutely nothing. So we have to tell our children, certainly you respect law enforcement. However, as an American citizen, law enforcement has to respect you as well. And the big thing with the advent of technology, we always should have them have those cell phones on, recording. No matter what the situation is, they have a lawful right to record the police, regardless of what the police try to do to intimidate them. That's the first thing. And secondly, with police chiefs and law enforcement communities around America, we have to tell them it's all about implicit bias training, hiring the right people, discipline them the right way, and then making sure that you have the community involvement, because it still comes down to trust. And when we see stuff like Corey Jones, the trust is caused into question so deeply. I mean, it just breaks your heart when you hear this evidence.
Sorry, did you want to hop in there really quickly, Attorney Darfour?
I think I'll echo the sentiments of Mr. Crump there, and I may add that, you know, we may tell our chiefs and officers to actually get some sensitivity training and put themselves in the shoes, or put their brother or their own child in those shoes when they approach somebody like, you know, like Corey was approached, so they can actually feel how that Corey was feeling, or a person of color is feeling when they are approached by police officers, often, you know, in a fearful state.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Attorney Darfour and Benjamin Crump, thank you for these important developments, and we'll be watching. Still ahead on NewOneNow. The nation is keeping an eye on Houston, Texas, where both former President George H.W. Bush and First Lady Barbara Bush are in the hospital. We'll have the latest on their conditions coming up next.